Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Money and Stuff. Hope you're doing well. I'm your host, Sam Rodriguez, certified financial planner. With me, as always, is Conor Shepard.
Hey, hey.
How's it going, man? I see you got your Penn State shirt on.
Yeah, season's back in bloom. I'm ready to see my Nittany Lions.
Yeah, man.
I'm ready for him to get my hopes up and then shatter those hopes.
That's all it is, man. Yeah. I'm a Longhorns fan. And of course, they smashed Rice the other day. And now they have Alabama. And I'm like, oh my God. This could either be the most fantastic thing that's happened to Texas football in a while, or our dreams of what life will be like in the SEC are going to be shattered in a span of 3 hours. One of the two.
It should be a good game. I mean, Bama's not as strong as they used to be. So.
Oh, thanks. Not, hey, Texas has really come up. They're looking pretty good. It's like, nah, Bama's pretty weak. They might actually have a shot.
I mean, hey, look, I'll be honest. I don't keep up with UT's football as much, but I do keep an ear out for when Alabama's stumbling.
Yeah. I hate Alabama. I have no idea why. You know what? I do know why. I used to work with this guy who was from Alabama, and I actually like the guy. I don't dislike the guy. He just talked so much smack about Alabama football.
Yeah,
and this was even in the year that, like the last championship year, like there's been a ton, that when UT won the championship back in 2005, like he was still talking smack about Alabama. Like I did not care about Alabama football before that, but for the last 20 years almost, I've just absolutely hated Alabama because of like a year and a half of working with this one guy. Anyway, man,
just ripped off.
Yeah, that's right. So, all right, let's talk about something people want to hear about.
Yeah. What are we talking?
Yeah, I think today I want to talk about something that people may be hearing about in the news and may sound a little bit scary to them. And it's the fact that foreclosures are up. And I know when we start hearing about increased foreclosures, people start worrying about, the economy turning into another Great Recession, right? 2008. That's what we remember. We remember there were tons of foreclosures. The economy was in shambles, and it all feels like it started with the foreclosures of homes. So I wanted to talk about what's happening right now and what we're seeing as far as the foreclosure market is concerned.
Cool. So what are we seeing? I mean, when you say
what's going on?
Yeah. So what's the deal with
foreclosures? Yeah. Well, yeah. So let's talk about where we are, right? So right now, there are over 35,000 properties with a foreclosure filing on them. We're already in September, so we only have the first half of the year's numbers, but there's already been 186,000 filings for foreclosure this year in the first half. Yeah. So we've got that's actually a 14% increase year over year, right? Over 2022. Bank repossessions of homes are up 9% compared to last year. So we're seeing a pretty big uptick, percentage wise, as compared to last year.
So like the 14%, or I guess these increases year on year are, at the end of the day, a lot of times statistics can seem scary, but sometimes end up not being as significant. Like, is that 14%, the 9% with the bank repossessions? Is that like a significant uptick?
I mean, it's a significant uptick from what it was.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, anytime anything increases 9% or 14%, then yeah, it is. Right. But I think we have to look at, why are they up right now? And so when we look at that, there's a few different things that have happened. So if we go back to the beginning of the year, a lot of what happened was the end of the COVID-19 moratorium, where people were able to put a forbearance on their mortgage. And the way that forbearance worked is people were able to stop or reduce their mortgage payments for up to 18 months. Yeah. Right. And if we think about the fact that program, being able to apply for it ended September 2021, then we have April of 2023 when that full 18 months was over. Right. So we think about what it takes to actually fall into foreclosure. Usually it's being 3 months behind on your mortgage. Yeah. Right. So if the moratorium, started ending, because people filed before September 2021. So, that 18 months was ending for a lot of people. And ultimately, in April, everybody's should have ended. So if you tack 3 months onto April, we've got, May, June, July. I was starting to doubt my ability to say the months.
You said them with a questioning tone.
That's right. July, right? And so we've now hit August, September. So I would say we're probably seeing the height or the peak of those right now, right? So
and
that
really
ended.
Seeing the coalescence of that drop off.
Yeah. And there were 1.2 million people that actually applied for that. Wow. Right. So that's a huge number of people that had applied for that forbearance. Yeah. Right. But a lot of those had already expired, right? Because that program opened up like late March of 2020. So I would imagine a lot of people applied for it in April of 2020. So that forbearance would have ended towards the end of 2021. So we would have seen, what are we talking about here? Foreclosures? Yeah. So we would have seen foreclosures start to pick up, right?
What are we talking about?
Man. I don't know what's going on with me today. I'm forgetting words, right? Like I got a full night's sleep. I don't know what's happening.
Those are the worst when you feel tired and you're like, I know I'm not tired because I know
I'm not tired. I'm just losing it mentally. That's all that's happening. I have no excuse, right?
That's all.
Yeah. Anyway, so the second big thing, right? The second thing that I think is causing the uptick in foreclosures is during the sort of late 2021, early 2022 housing craze, right? Prices were appreciating like crazy. And a lot of that was due to the fact that interest rates had just bottomed out in 2021 and they stayed low through the beginning of 2022. And what we had is we had a lot of people rushing to get a house, not really because they were finding their dream home. They were just trying to lock in a low interest rate.
Yeah.
And all of that demand for homes was sending the prices of homes super, super high. Yeah. And at the same time, we still had a lot of people who were struggling financially that had a moratorium or forbearance on their mortgage. And so their properties were not hitting the market because they weren't having to sell. So it created this inventory problem. So we had low inventory, high demand, prices shot up like crazy. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people ended up purchasing a house at the very, very top of what they could sustain from an income perspective, right? And so if you bought a house in late 2021, we've still seen a lot of appreciation, from late 2021 to today. So let's say you bought at the top of your ability, right, to pay that mortgage, pay the taxes, pay the insurance. Well, two things have happened since then, right? One is your taxes have probably gone up significantly because your home's probably gone up in value quite a bit. The other thing that we're seeing in a lot of these areas where home prices shot up dramatically, they were in areas like Florida and Texas and places people are moving to. And what we're seeing in those areas because of climate change or just increased severe weather.
Yeah.
Some people's insurance on their homes have gone up as much as 50%.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a recipe for disaster for people who bought at the top of their ability. And now their taxes have increased maybe by 20, 30, 40%. Their insurance has increased by 50%. Right. I know I talked to one individual who escrows for his taxes and his, what's the thing I just said? Insurance. Good gosh, man. Yeah, his taxes and insurance. But his mortgage went up $1,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, just because of taxes and insurance, right? Like adding $1,000 of expenses to your budget every month, that's enormous.
Yeah.
And it happened at the same time when prices for everything else you spend money on has been going up.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is a huge hit from a budgetary standpoint to any household.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of people who right now have gotten into homes in the last couple of years that, they're struggling.
Yeah.
Right? They're struggling to make that payment.
Yeah. So just to make sure I'm understanding, but it sounds like, a number of factors playing into people wanting to cash in on like the housing market while rates were low. And they're just getting slammed like with one thing after the other, with raised mortgages, like you said, the taxes going up,
Mm-hmm.
and then home insurance. I mean, that would be a good episode that if we did just on what's going on with the home insurance markets, because like
Yeah,
it's wild how many areas are just not only like jacking up rates, but there's a lot of areas that insurers are outright leaving.
that's right. I I only laugh because I feel like we probably have like 100 episodes that we've said like
We should make an
we should do
episode
an
on it.
episode just on that, right? But you're right. It's happened, and it's been. Yeah. What I'll say is there are certain areas of the country where I know I've said for a long time, like insurers are eventually going to say, we are not going to insure here anymore. Like
Yeah.
I can't, like we cannot replace or pay you to rebuild your home every 3 years, right? Like we are paying you this one last time. And after that, you've got to build somewhere else
Yeah.
because I mean, insurance companies at the end of the day are for-profit companies,
Yeah.
right? And if you're in an area where they know that they're going to just continue to lose money,
Yeah.
it's likely that they're just not going to be there anymore. So,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, I don't want to get too off topic, but yeah, it's a huge reason, right? Insurance costs going way up in these areas where a lot of insurers have left, and then other insurers that have stayed said, okay, in order for us to insure you, your premium's going up quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, and especially for people who are benefiting from that, uh, COVID, a moratorium. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I just keep saying forbearance.
Okay.
Makes
The
it
COVID
easier.
forbearance,
Yeah.
but like, you think about how many people must have been kind of riding the line when that was the case, and now they deal with the double, the two part punch where they got inflation and then they lose that, buffer, so to speak, provided
Mhm.
by the COVID forbearance. And
Yeah, that's right. And there's a third thing that's hitting this month is for a lot of those people, if they have student loans, they haven't had to pay
oh
on those student
yeah,
loans for the last couple of years, right?
yeah,
And then now suddenly that's an additional expense to their monthly budget that they're going to have to figure out how to fit in, right?
yeah,
For a lot of Americans, something's going to have to give. They're going to have to figure something out. And so I don't think that we've seen the end of these foreclosures, right? I think they're likely to continue to go up,
hmm,
or maybe stabilize, right? Because if some of the people who had the forbearance, if that wave is sort of over, it's starting a new wave that may just replace the wave that we had.
yeah.
So,
I could see that.
so I think the question most people probably have by now is, do we need to worry? Is this something that we need to be worried about again? Because we think back to 2008 and people not being able to pay their mortgages, entire neighborhoods basically being empty, foreclosures. Is that what we're headed for? In short, no, I don't think so. So, even us saying that a 14% increase in foreclosure filings is a large increase, we got to think about, well, where did we start? Well, 2020, if we were saying that we started in 2022 and we have a 14% increase over 2022, well, 2022 is the lowest rate of foreclosures that we've had in 20 years. So if you increase 14% off of really low number, it's not that startling.
Yeah,
So I don't think we are anywhere near where we were in 2008. If you think about 2008, the foreclosure rate or as a percentage of homes that had a mortgage, the number of homes that were in foreclosure was 2.23.
hmm.
Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a pretty good number of homes that are in foreclosure. And if we take what it was in 2022, it was 0.23. So a tenth of what it was. So yeah, we don't have the percentages yet, but let's just sort of do some quick math and say 2.23 times, or add 14% to that. That takes us to 0.26. So still extremely low. That would actually put us as the fourth lowest foreclosure rate in the last 20 years.
Hmm.
So still really, really low foreclosure rate. So I really don't think that it's anything that we need to worry about, right? The other reason I would say that we don't need to worry is one of the reasons that foreclosures were so high in 2008, 2009, 2010, one of the reasons that they were so high is that there was no demand. When people got in financial trouble, they couldn't sell their home. So they had to foreclose because there was nobody there to buy. Right now, we have really, really strong demand. One of the issues, though, is home prices have appreciated so much that people aren't able to, they're, what am I trying to say?
First-time home buyers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Priced
It's
out.
just the market for the number of people is just not, the pool is kind of small.
Yep.
Because home prices are elevated. So what does that mean? That means that we're likely to see home prices come down as these foreclosures hit the market, because now we have other homes available that are competing against foreclosure homes. And so either prices are going to come down or they're at least going to stabilize. But the demand is there.
Yeah.
We still have builders building a lot of homes. Those homes are still getting bought up very, very quickly. So we don't have a situation like we had in 2008 where people couldn't buy the homes, because we also had high unemployment at that time. Yeah. Right now, we still have record unemployment numbers. Record as a low, I should say. We have record low unemployment numbers. So there are people who have jobs that could make payments. Interest rates, I think we need to think about as well. Interest rates may be at a point right now that price out a lot of people from being able to purchase a home right now. But as we see inflation drop, we will see the Fed also maybe reverse course on raising interest rates. And if the Fed quits raising interest rates and maybe even begins dropping interest rates, suddenly all of these homes start becoming more and more affordable to people who are looking to buy a home. And so I really feel like that demand is going to be there to purchase these homes. So I don't think we're going to end up in that 2% foreclosure rate where it really starts troubling the economy. We're actually below average numbers of foreclosures on the market right now. So from a perspective of what it means to the economy, I really don't think we need to worry. But, depending on whether you're a homeowner or a home buyer, whether or not it's good news to you is relative. If you're a home buyer, may be good because home prices are going to stabilize. But if you're a homeowner and you want your home to appreciate in value, we may have seen the majority of it over the last 2 years. That may begin to slow. But even if it slows, getting back to a normal, somewhere between 3 to 5% rise in your home value every year, that's normal, right? That's normal. It's normal to see that some years it doesn't rise, but on average, somewhere between 3 to 5, we're probably just going to get back to that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have anything else.
I think I thought that was really interesting, man. Like like we talked about at the beginning, like statistics and numbers when they're presented on such delicate topics like foreclosures, whatever it is, it can be easy to get worked up by it. But when you put it in perspective, like you said, 14% can seem like a lot, but if the original value is a low number, that 14% is not
that big of a deal, right?
As it appears.
It's more like just returning to normal.
Yeah.
Right. And we're still way below normal. Right. But news organizations, what they want you to do is they want you to click. They want you to watch. So, when it's easy for them to put a headline out that says foreclosures are up, foreclosures are up 14%. That's scary. But when you dig into the details, it's not that it's not factual. I mean, foreclosures are up 14%, but what it means to everybody doesn't mean nearly the same thing that it meant 15 years ago. Yeah. Right. I think we can leave it at that. We'll move.
Quick episode.
All right, everybody. Yeah. I appreciate you listening. We'll talk to you again next time. Bye.